Hey guys, it's Joanie from simplelivingmama.com, and today we are going to be talking about homeschool planning. So I know that it is already September. Most of us have already started our homeschool year, but if you're still kind of, trying to figure out exactly what you want to do this homeschool year, you're trying to figure out the big picture of your homeschool, then this video is going to be for you. Okay guys, so that's what this video is about. It's about the big picture homeschool plan. And this is something that I didn't even think about when I started homeschooling. I was just eager to pick out a curriculum, get started, and I knew why we were homeschooling, but that was pretty much the extent of it. I didn't know anybody who had ever homeschooled, so I wasn't quite sure what homeschooling was going to look like for us. And there weren't really any resources available to help me nail down that big picture of what our homeschool was going to look like. So today I want to talk to you about how you can figure out your big picture for homeschooling. And if you hear my kids in the background, I'm sorry, but they are playing and my husband's taking care of them. So mom life, right? Okay, guys. So I want to talk to you about a new resource that I am using this year right now. And it is actually called the Your Intentional Family Homeschool Planning Guide. And this is from my friend Leanne over at Intentional by Grace. She runs a blog over there, and I've known Leanne for years. We used to work together. I used to write for her blog way back when I very first started homeschooling. So she and I have sort of been on this homeschool journey together. We've both been homeschooling, I think, for about the same amount of time. So she does know what she's doing right now. So yeah, I have been using that homeschool guide to really figure out what our big picture is. Okay, the first step in really trying to figure out your big picture is to evaluate your previous homeschool year. Now, if you're a brand new homeschooler, you're not really going to be able to do this, but if you have at least one homeschool year to go off of, this is a great time to sit down and really think about what went well last year, what didn't go well last year, and what can you change. So with the homeschool planning guide that I'm using, there are interviews for your children and your husband if you're married. So that's something that I never thought about doing. I never thought about interviewing my husband to see what he thought about our homeschool, how he thought I was as a homeschool teacher. You know, teachers in public schools get evaluated, and we obviously don't do that in homeschool, but it is nice to be able to have someone else's opinion. And my husband is somebody that I trust and I value his opinion. So it's great to be able to ask him what he thought about our homeschool in the previous year. And then of course, just talking to the kids. What did they like about last year? What did they not like about last year? What are some things that they want to do this coming school year, and some things that they really don't want to do that maybe you did last year? There's also a sibling evaluation sheet included, so that way you can sit down and figure out, how do your kids interact with each other throughout the homeschool day, and how can you help strengthen their sibling relationship and all of that stuff. Just a bunch of things that when I'm sitting down by myself without a guide of any kind, I'm not really thinking about any of that. I'm just sitting there with myself thinking, okay, this is what worked, this is what didn't work, this is what worked for me, this is what I think worked for my oldest, and I'm not taking the time to get their opinions like I probably should be. Okay, so once you've done all of that, you've talked to your husband, if you're married, you've talked to your kids, then it's time to really gain some clarity. So when you are trying to gain clarity, you're going to sit down with those sheets and think about, what your husband said, what your kids said. It's also a good time to think about your relationship with the Lord, and was that strengthened during your homeschool year? were there some things that were maybe weakened that you can pick back up or improve on with your relationship with God during the next school year and all of that stuff. So once you have all of that information, it's time to create some guiding principles for your homeschool. And you know, I have tried to establish like a homeschool motto. I kind of know what I want my kids to learn, but I've never tried to create guiding principles. And Leanne suggests that you create 5 to 7 guiding principles. So we created 6, and I've got some notes over here, so I'll be over here reading them. I created 6 guiding principles that will guide our homeschool. Hopefully, until we're finished homeschooling. Of course, I'm going to revisit this every single school year and see if I need to make some adjustments. But for this school year, these are our 6 guiding principles. I want us to develop a love of literature and read excellent books. I want us to spend time outdoors and learn about the world around us. I want us to memorize God's word and learn the stories of the Bible. I want us to create meaningful work through handicrafts. I want us to encounter beauty through art and music. And I want us to learn to serve and love each other well. I feel like that's definitely one area where I have not done well with the kids. We've not been doing a lot of service, and that's something that I definitely want to improve. So I'm taking those guiding principles and I'm using them to plan our course of study. And what our course of study is, hang on just a second. This is one of the printables that's included with the Intentional Family Planning Guide. So what your course of study is basically what curricula, what resources are you going to be using for each of these subjects. And I want to choose curricula that lines up with our guiding principles, things that are going to help us accomplish those goals that I have set for us. So, you know, with math, we use teaching textbooks. I'm not a math person, so I really didn't include that I didn't include that in one of our principles, but you know, I do want the children to learn math, and I have found that teaching textbooks is definitely the easiest way for my oldest kids to get all their math done. Okay, and then for science, we use The Good and the Beautiful, and I have chosen a few different units for us to use for science. And then with all of our language arts, you guys know I love The Good and the Beautiful for language arts, so that's what we use. It helps us with writing, with reading excellent books. They have an entire Good and Beautiful library full of excellent books that I pull from for the kids. And I really love that program for language arts, and that encompasses all of our language arts. Okay, and then for history and geography, I use My Father's World. And My Father's World also helps with My Father's World also helps with learning the Bible stories, helping us to memorize God's word. That is why I have chosen My Father's World for our Bible and our history curriculum. We've done geography with them as well. We do geography with the Good and the Beautiful language arts, so the kids are getting lots and lots of different, they're using lots and lots of different resources for geography, and they're hitting things over and over again. So I feel like they're gonna know geography way better than I ever did growing up. But you know, as far as memorizing God's word and learning those biblical stories, that's why I'm using My Father's World. And you know, that perfectly ties into our principles. Foreign language, that's something that I'm not really huge on right now. The kids are using Duolingo. My daughter has chosen to learn French. We were learning Spanish up until this point. That's definitely been one area where we haven't hit very hard like I would have liked, but you know, they're being exposed to it. And my oldest son is learning Spanish, so you know, they're just at least being exposed to it. We're not doing a really intense course for foreign language this year. And then art and music, hymns, handicrafts, all of that Charlotte Mason rich stuff that I love so much, I'm using the homeschool garden for all of that. I absolutely love the homeschool garden, so that's where we're going with that. It has really helped me to simplify finding artist studies and composer studies and poems to read for poetry tea time and all of that. So I want to bring in beauty through art and music and nature and all of that stuff. So we are using the homeschool garden. And then as far as nature study goes, we have the homeschool garden. We're using the nature study notebook from The Good and the Beautiful, and we're just spending a lot more time outside and learning about the world around us, journaling it, and all of that stuff. So yeah, I really love that I was able to put down all of our guiding principles and, you know, and say this is why I've chosen this specific curriculum, because it is going to help us accomplish these goals. Okay, so once you've chosen your curriculum, you have your goals, you know what you want to accomplish for the coming school year. It's time to put that plan together. I love to use a year at a glance calendar. This one is from the Your Intentional Family Homeschool Planning Guide. And we homeschool on a Sabbath schedule, so we do 6 weeks of school and then we take a week off. And I found that that is so helpful for us as a large family, because during that week off, I can get caught up on house tasks that have fallen behind. If there's any projects that we need to do that we weren't able to accomplish, we can get all of those done. And it just works really well for us. So I take the year at a glance. We try to school 180 days a year, and I'm able to mark off holidays, our weeks off, when we want to take off for Christmas, when we want to take off for spring, and all of that. So plan all of that out on your calendar. And I do suggest leaving some wiggle room, because you might have some sick days pop up, or just, mental health days come up where you guys are like, okay, we just need to just go outside and we don't need to do school today because it's been too stressful, or whatever the case may be. So you definitely want to plan your year at a glance. And then once you have all of that established, I'm going to grab another sheet. You're going to want to plan out your routines for your actual school day. So I think I'm going to do another video and blog post on how to organize your school day. So I'm just going to kind of try to run through it pretty briefly right here. We have our school day. It's not set up like a schedule. It's more of a routine, which works for us. So in the mornings, we do our morning time stuff. We move into the independent subjects. We usually don't get those done before lunch. We have lunch around 12:30, and then we finish up independent subjects, and then do what I call afternoon occupations, and I have those running on a loop. So we'll have like art one day, and then nature study one day, and then handicraft one day, and poetry tea time. I think that's everything that's on my loop. So yeah, that's how I set up my routine. And this comes from the Your Intentional Family Homeschool Planning Guide, and you're able to set up what you do in the mornings, what you do in the afternoons, and what you do in the evenings. And there's also a section for chores. Now, hang on one second. Okay, so there's a section for chores. So if you want to assign chores for different days, you're able to do that here. You may or may not know that we have like a zone cleaning system that we do. We have certain chores that we do in the morning, certain chores that we do in the afternoon, certain chores that we do in the evening. And then for my deep cleaning, I sort of just run through different zones of my house. So I'll leave that information down in the description box if you want to know more about my cleaning routines. But anyways, that's how I do that. So you want to get your routine set up. You've got your calendar for your year set up. You know what you want to accomplish this school year, what your goals are. You've chosen curricula that lines up with those goals or resources. Some people like to piece together lots of different resources, and that's totally cool. And that's it. Once you have all of that lined up, it's time to go ahead, dive in, and get started with your school year. If you need to make adjustments, don't be afraid to make adjustments. If you find the curriculum is not working, and you've really tried, it's okay to switch curriculum. We've had to do that with different math curricula and stuff like that throughout the years. So, if that's what you need to do, that's what you need to do. I take these sheets that I got from the Homeschool Planning Guide, and I put them in my Happy Planner. I'm using my Happy Planner for my lesson planning, and I keep all of the kids' calendars for their extracurriculars and everything like that in that big planner. So that's how I do all of that. So I know this is a long video. I hope that it helped you if you have had some trouble trying to come up with the big picture. I will have this amazing planning guide linked down below if you want to go check it out. I highly recommend it. It's a PDF. You can use it year after year. Every time you need to evaluate your homeschool, it's pretty awesome. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.